Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's July 7th, 2016. Yesterday, the mainstream media gave the world two news stories of young black men being murdered by police officers out of Louisiana and Minnesota. When I make videos discussing the news, a lot of people do not understand what the point of my message is. And the point of my message is to enlighten people that the media is not to be trusted or taken seriously, and further to recognize what the point of the media we have is. Our media is not here to inform, it is not here for justice, it's not here to empower, it is here to provoke us, to torment us, to scare us, to divide us. And the reason this is so is because the media, since its inception, was created by people who were bankers, people who had interest in controlling the masses, ruling over them, getting them to buy into a system, a consumer system, a consumer society. And why? Because it all comes back to power and control. The people who rule over us, they use money and propaganda to steer us from the cradle to the grave. Most of us in this world, when we're born into it, we are enslaved by the financial system. We have to make money to survive, to keep up, to pay for our health. There was a time in this world where people were born into a different world, where money didn't exist, and it was about, or life was about, doing common sense things. What you have to do to survive. Feed yourself, clothe yourself, house yourself, take care of your environment, take care of your community. At no point did money come into the conversation. I'm just introducing this so you can start to think about the way this world is that we live in and the things we're constrained by. And for almost all of us, the information we receive on the daily basis comes from the mainstream media. And I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time a media story did anything positive for your life? I bet you can think of 1,000 times it scared you or made you think about something you didn't want to think about. But when was the last time it actually helped you? I myself, I've never seen a positive media story that did anything beneficial for me. And I think that's probably true for most other people. And I recognized when I was 18 years old, just barely 18, when September 11th, 2001 happened, what the media was. That's when I fully recognized what a propaganda tool it was. There was no way on September 11th, 2001, some men in some caves halfway around the world figured out how to trump, a multi-trillion-dollar, well-established industry, which is the American defense. That's where almost all of our taxpayer dollars go. And you're telling me some guys in caves took it all down, infiltrated it, stumped it? The stories we are fed are monumental bullshit. And that's also part of the conditioning. Lying to us and then watching us defend the lie, fight over the lie, accept the lie. All of these news stories are the same day after day. Propaganda, by the numbers, day after day. And when I say by the numbers, we'll get to that point. If you're new to my channel, you'll come to see that I show how all news stories are scripted by the numbers, planned in advance, rehearsed, and then put out like a theatrical performance. A performance that's meant to provoke and divide people, like these two shootings yesterday in the media. Two young black men by white cops. And just look at the headlines. The African American community is tired. Well, they are tired. Tired of these stories of injustice, and knowing in reality there is a lot of injustice against their community from the police, which is historically very racist. But what they need to know is that they are being provoked over the top with purposeful propaganda that is not real. So here's what I did. I did a little more research. I found out just how planned out this Alton Sterling killing was. And as I bring this up, I want to put something in your head, something that I often talk about. these stories are riddles and they connect to other things going on in the world. The Alton Sterling shooting was across the street from a store called Big Ben, like the Landmark in the UK and London. In the UK, they're having the whole Brexit thing right now. Their economy's tanking. There's all these concerns being raised in their media. It's the same fear-mongering over there as it is here. All of the world is under the same Masonic One World, New World Order network, a Masonic Zionist Jesuit order. In the UK, their currency is the pound sterling. Here this man, Mr. Sterling, gets murdered across from the Big Ben. So keep that in mind. That's just part of the riddle of this psyop. And if you don't think this is a psyop, stay tuned because I'm going to show you just how planned out this was with the governor. If you're new to my channel, I educate about how all of these hoaxes in the media, when they happen in a state, they're always synced up with the governor's birthday. Always. The rule, not the exception. I'm going to show you just how planned out this Alton Sterling killing was with what's been going on in Louisiana with the new governor. So, this article is from May 27th. The signing of this bill, Blue Lives Matter, which is for police to defend themselves against angry people, and the bill even targets Black Lives Matters. This bill was signed May 26th, the day before this article came out. We'll talk about why the date is significant. May 26th, this year, 2016, was the 147th day of the year. Police in Jewish gematria sums to 147. If you missed my video on the killing of Alton Sterling, I showed that the police officer, the spokesperson, had the typical gematria coding of 147. In these manufactured stories for TV, these propaganda events, these fake killings meant to provoke, the police officers' names are often coded out with numbers that correspond with police. Johnny Dunham, the spokesperson, police equals 147. If you haven't seen my video yesterday, I also decode the two shooters, how their names connect to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, shooting, police, and more. Johnny Dunham, the small way, also sums to 57. The shooting was July 5th, like 5/7. It was all planned out. It was done by the numbers. So this bill, Blue Lives Matters, 147th day, police 147. The phrase master builder equals 147. That's an important term in numerology. We're talking about numbers operating by a number code. Master builder has to do with creating the foundation of something. This bill was the beginning of this foundation, of this agenda, which likely will go on past Alton Sterling. These stories, they come in cycles, they come in groupings, they're meant to work people up, provoke them. The phrase Blue Lives Matter, just how they have it emphasized up here, Blue Lives Matter, in gematria sums to 58, just like Freemasonry, just like the number coded all over both of these shootings yesterday. We'll review it. Freemasonry has gematria of 58. Blue Lives Matter, with the S exception, Freemasonry and Blue Lives Matter both sum to 67. That's because S in gematria can be worth 1 or 10. When you make it worth 10, everything counts as 9 more. 58 plus 9 is 67. The numerology of the date of Blue Lives Matter was a date with 67 numerology. And think about how this news story about the killing of the man in Louisiana, it made the news July 6th, written 6/7. Just like the numerology of the date of the bill, just like what's coded into the words, Blue Lives Matter. The typo doesn't matter. That was a mistake. Sorry, it should be 2 T's there. But Blue Lives Matter with the S exception, 58 and 67. The numbers 58 and 67 both have numerology breaking down to 13. 13, a very special number to the gang of Masons who rule over us. From the date of the bill, Blue Lives Matter, to the date of July 5th, 2016, that's 41 days, a span of 41 days. That's the 13th prime number. 13th prime number. All of this connecting through numbers. It's also a span of 5 weeks and 6 days. Remember that, because this governor's the 56th governor. Black Lives Matter also has gematria 56, which we'll get to. From the date of the bill to the date of the news story, July 6th, May 26th to July 6th, is a span of 42 days. 42, the number stamped all over black men throughout history. Jackie Robinson wore the number 42 because the most hateful word for black people, the N-word, sums to 42. We're going to talk about the phrase hate crime. In the video I did yesterday, I talked about the coding of 103. Interesting that it was coded back in this story all this months ago in the video they made. Connects to the shooting. Number connecting to the recent Orlando Pulse shooting. All of these stories are scripted together. It's all part of a conveyor belt of an agenda. Think about what the source is. It's all coming from this same mainstream media. It's all planned. It's all coordinated. So here's the new governor, John Bel Edwards, former military man. From my earliest videos explaining what the purpose of the media is, it is a military psychological operations, always has been from the start. We live in a military war nation. This media is here to keep us on the path we're on. Keep us, the people, subdued and going along with lies, deceit, tyranny, cowering from it. So he became the 56th governor on January 11th, 2016. Here's what they wrote in that article. The date he signed the Blue Lives Matter thing. Talks about right away in the first sentence, with the nationwide friction between the Black Lives Matter movement and supporters of law enforcement as a backdrop, Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards signed a bill Thursday expanding the state's hate crime statute to include the targeting of police officers, firefighters, and EMS personnel. And again, they're targeting Black Lives Matter as those responsible first and foremost, which is a controlled opposition group. Black Lives Matter in gematria sums to 56. With the exceptions, it also sums to 74. Like Masonic. This shooting yesterday happened at the Triple S Food Mart, which in gematria sums to 74 the small way, like Black Panther Party, like Jewish, like Masonic. Triple S Food Mart, the big way, is just like Black Panther Party, the big way. 191's the 43rd prime, Civil War equals 43, Charleston equals 43. The word community also equals 43. These numbers have duality. Think about what a civil war is. A war between a community of people. Black Panther Party, a community within a community that was formed as a way of fighting back against the tyranny against their race. It's not that I demonize anyone for wanting to participate in these movements. I'm trying to show people what's going on, how there are powers controlling all of us like a puppet show, dividing us, getting us to fight with each other, blame each other, and not hold the real party responsible, who are the Masons and Zionists who rule over media, government, and steer us the way they do. The Black Panther Party was established in 1966 by Huey P. Newton. Huey P. Newton, gematria 58, just like Freemasonry, just like Oakland, where the party was set up. If you missed my work predicting the Super Bowl, I said before the season was over, I said in October the Broncos were going to win the Super Bowl. By late November, early December, I was starting to say it's going to be Broncos over Panthers for the race war symbolism with all of the racial propaganda programming in the media. And as time went on, I uncovered more details. I noticed that if Cam Newton and Peyton Manning were going to be the QBs to start in the upcoming Super Bowl, which they did, I noticed that meant Cam Newton would be the 58th quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. Cam Newton, the black quarterback for the team with the Black Panther on the side of their helmet. He is related to Huey P. Newton, Cam Newton. What that means, what that exposes, what I've shown in a million other ways also, is that it is a network of families who rule over us. They occupy the news, the sports leagues, the movies, government offices. They're born into these Masonic traditions. Freemasonry has been with this nation since before it began. It's been with the world for a very long time. It's Freemasons in high places ruling over us, treating the world as a stage, scripting news, scripting sports, duping the masses. I guaranteed the Broncos would beat the Panthers, even though the Broncos were the inferior team. I even said Von Miller would be the MVP, number 58, who was drafted right after Cam Newton. Called all those things before the Super Bowl was even set. So right now you see on the news, if you turn it on, you've seen it since Freddie Gray, all these stories. You see this sign with this font, "Stop Killing Us." A lot of people showing up, standing in the backdrops of these media stories when they're covering it. Michael Brown, all these stories by the numbers. Sandy Bland. Look at "Stop Killing Us." 58. This is not an accident. This is how the Masons work. They believe in this esoteric knowledge. They code their words with it. They do it as a religion. All right, so now back to the governor and the bill. He became governor January 11th, 2016. Remember, this happened in front of Triple S Mart. S breaks down to 1. Triple S is 111. This governor became on 111. From that date until the date of the signing of the Blue Lives Matter bill was a span of 137 days. 137 is the 33rd prime number. Remember, police equals 33. He signs this bill for the police 137 days after becoming governor. Federal 33, race war 33, the FBI established on a date with 33 numerology. The FBI now involved in this. It's because this is all federal propaganda. This is a federal agenda. This is a federal Freemason agenda. That's who runs our federal government. As for 137 itself, authority equals 137. Anonymous, which is controlled opposition. How you know something is fake is if the mainstream media covers it. If the mainstream media covers something, gives it attention, legitimizes it, brings it up again and again, like Anonymous, you know it's fake. Authority 137, Anonymous 137, Washington, D.C. 137. The American Meridian's the 77th meridian that cuts through Washington, D.C. That's what it's called, the American Meridian. This is how cleverly thought out it all is. These Masons have been doing this all throughout history, naming things these ways, doing it by the dates, by the numbers, just as we've shown. Bill on the 147th day for police 147. You got the 147 spokesperson for the shooting that goes with it by the numbers. They kept showing the young man killed in the turquoise t-shirt, very bright t-shirt. Turquoise equals 46, sacrifice equals 46, Baton Rouge equals 46, hate crime equals 46, the name of the officer who killed him equals 46. Covered that in yesterday's video. They're calling this a hate crime, and remember the bill was made for a hate crime. So here we go, 46 ties in further. I didn't notice that hate crime was 46 yesterday, but with them bringing up hate crime in this bill, protecting against hate crimes against police, when really it's the police who are... how many people kill a police officer in a year? Not very many. Police kill a lot of people every single year. You guys have to realize, when I'm saying these videos and this news is a hoax, I'm not saying that police wrongdoing is a hoax. That's very real. Police officers never get held accountable for their wrongdoing, and they're probably not going to get held accountable in this story either. 9 months from now, they'll be letting off these police officers, pissing off people even more. They'll be bringing up the Blue Lives Matter and how he had a gun in his pocket. Some judge whose name equals 46 will probably let him off. Just wait until the story comes out. All of these stories always link up. It's always this way. Last year at this time, there was the Sandy Bland propaganda. Sandy Bland 33, race war 33, police 33. She was from Chicago. Chicago has 46 gematria, 37 the small way. Reminds me that this shooter was... or the man killed yesterday in Baton Rouge was 37 years old, supposedly. Chicago is where these Masonic Zionists heavily operate out of. They're in New York. Today in Chicago, look at what they're proposing in Chicago today for the police. Blue Lives Matter. And remember, Chicago has a lot of these shooting hoaxes by the numbers. Last year, they pulled out 2 stories out of nowhere. Ronald Johnson, Laquan McDonald. Ronald McDonald, McDonald's headquartered just outside of Chicago. At the same time those stories were coming out of Chicago, police officers killing Ronald Johnson and Laquan McDonald, two young unarmed black males. At that same time, then there was the San Bernardino shooting hoax that they blamed on ISIS. More propaganda. San Bernardino is where the first McDonald's restaurant was opened by Ray Kroc, the man who made McDonald's huge. In 1984, Ray Kroc died on January 14th. 187 days later, there was the McDonald's massacre on July 18th, which is written 18/7 like 187, coming 187 days after the death of Ray Kroc, when the homicide code in California is 187. And also, where McDonald's is headquartered in Illinois, the name of that town, plus Illinois, sums to 187. We are ruled over by Masons on so many levels: media, government, corporations. It's a giant network. It's a big show. It's false division. You know, all of you who say things like communism, socialism, just recognize what you live in. You live in fascism. Fascism is the merger of corporation and government. That's exactly what we live in. That's exactly what prevailed out of the world wars worldwide. They say we fought against fascism. That doesn't make any sense. We were fascist ourselves, so we became more fascist. We are fed nothing but bullshit in this world, false narratives meant to keep us from seeing what is. You never seen the movie Network from '76? Watch that movie. Talks about how the world runs on bullshit, and it's the truth. The Sandy Bland story last year that didn't make any sense, all coded out to the teeth. If you haven't read my chapter that's linked in the description on the race war by the numbers over the decades, I've shown how all of these mainstream stories are scripted hoaxes by the numbers again and again. They don't give us real news in the media. They give us narratives that reflect with our lives, that are exaggerated, that are unrealistic, that are meant to provoke. Can't say it enough. Again, with regards to the governor also, these shootings are always synced up with their birthdays. His birthday is September 16th. From the date of the shooting to the date of his birthday is 73 days later. The victim was 37. Notice it's 2 months and 11 days. Also 10 weeks and 3 days, like that 103 timestamp coded by CNN on the bill, the day of Blue Lives Matter. That 2 months and 11 days stands out because Alton equals 211, Mason equals 211, 211 is the 47th prime. John in Louisiana have gematria 47, his first name John. Also, the address of the shooting is 2112 North Foster Drive, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And, you know, we talked about the triple S in light of the governor. Look at this interview, how they got this set up here. Him standing right in front of the address, putting it right before your eyes. These are very special numbers to the gang. 47, one of the most important numbers to the Freemasons. Authority, the small way, equals 47. Obey, judge, gavel. Special number. Euclid's 47th problem. Look it up. Special mathematics problem to the Freemasons. It's also a span of 74 days from his birthday to the shooting. 74 days. 10 weeks and 4 days, like the name Sterling. Jewish Masonic killing. Covered these things yesterday. Just to give you some backstory too, if you were to go through the more than 1,000 videos I've made and watch them, you'd have to be sitting there for days watching. If you watched all the police ones, and every single one, I'm a broken record. I say they always code 46 into police shootings. It just has to be there. And it was all over the shootings yesterday. Last year, on May 19th, 2015, Obama signed something called a Blue Alert, which gave way to these, what are they calling it? Blue Lives Matter. Measures to protect police. Obama stepping up protection for police, the most abusive force there is to black males nationwide. I told everybody Obama was a fraud. I mean, if you voted for Obama, it's time to wake up. Obama was the black George Bush. There was no difference between either of them. Their voting records were identical. Their rhetoric was almost the same. Anybody who voted for Obama wanted 8 more years of Bush. And that's exactly what they got, but even worse. People need to wake up, take off the blindfold. This is why I'm speaking out. This is why I'm trying to wake up people. I'm someone who's informed. I'm someone who sees what's going on in this world that's very rare, you know? Sometimes I get heated just thinking about things. So anyway, Obama signed this on May 19th, Malcolm X's birthday, the 139th day of the year. Freemasonry equals 139. Tupac Shakur equals 139. He got killed September 13th, 13/9 by the numbers. It's another story, but these are big boss numbers to the Freemasons. And here's Obama signing a bill for the police. The police are ruled by the Freemasons. In most small cities in this country, the police department's directly across the street from the Freemason Lodge. It's no joke. It's true where I live. So many other places. He was signing this in remembrance of Rafael Ramos and Wenjin Liu, 2 New York police officers that were shot in a hoax, something I have a video on from the day of. To take you back, Rafael Ramos equals 46. Wenjin Liu equals 46. The word sacrifice equals 46. I think that's part of the reason they code it. And so does the word hero, because they're always trying to make us believe that police officers are heroes when really they're the worst among us. This nation would be much safer if there weren't police. If you've never seen my video before, The Consequences of Being a Truth Speaker, I tell my story of how my house was burglarized by the local police. I was soon arrested, all for exposing the shooting hoax in October 2014 in Washington State, just before our vote on new gun control legislation. Staged propaganda by the numbers, all part of this agenda. Just weeks after exposing that, a shooting in my own backyard, my house cleaned out. No doubt by the neighborhood police. So here, this story of Rafael Ramos and Wenjin Liu, shooting on a date with 46 numerology, all 46. After the story, they brought out these emotional details about how Rafael Ramos saw himself as a minister of the streets. The streets was his ministry. Ministry 46. These aren't even real people. These are fictional characters made up for the event. You can go back and watch my video then, talk about the police chief in New York. Obama ended up signing this law in remembrance of the 2 NYPD officers that died, NYPD 59. The date Obama signed the law, in remembrance of them, a date with 59 numerology. And again, 59 is the number stamped all over black people throughout history. Negro equals 59. Slave equals 59. Blues equals 59. Motown Records came out in 59. Why? Because the Masonic Zionists who control the media, control the entertainment industry, control the record studios. Of course, make a black record label in the year 59. This is how these people operate. The numbers are a religion to them. So CNN, they've had this front page story all morning. Watch shocking video from another shooting. I mean, the media is just meant to grab your attention. Watch, provoke. Nothing beneficial comes out of this. This is just making people angry and afraid, as we said in the beginning. Anyhow, the numbers in the headline, as per usual, are coded. Watch shocking video from another shooting. Sums to 193, the 44th prime number. They're saying that this officer was Asian. The woman says he's a Chinese man. Asian has gematria 44, just like shooting, just like officer, just like trooper, just like kill. 193, the 44th prime. The San Bernardino shooting hoax and the Orlando shooting hoax, both blamed on ISIS, were 193 days apart. Both shootings blamed on people supposedly inspired by ISIS online. Propaganda by the numbers, just like these shootings of the black men. For all the people who come here and get worked up because they've never seen one of my videos, it's a shame they don't invest the time to see all that I've exposed. I have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt this is how our media and our government operates. This is their code. We'll watch this video that they put out for this most recent shooting in Minnesota, coming late in the day of the news of the death of Alton Sterling. The first words said in the video are, "Stay with me." Here it says it right from the article, are the first words heard in her video. And not by coincidence, because these people are acting out a script, and her acting is absolutely horrible. Anyone who's watching this and thinking it's real, you know, it's watching without thinking. It's watching without, having any experience in life. I don't know how so many people are deceived by the media. It is obviously bogus bullshit all the time. Shootings where the camera goes away during the death and then comes back, treating you like you're an idiot. The victim who died late yesterday, July 6th, named Philando Castile, gematria of 67, where we started, the date of the signing of the Blue Lives Matter. Philando Castile shot on July 6th, written 6/7 in most parts of the world, just like blood sacrifice, just like Freemasonry. Remember, his name connects blood sacrifice, the name Alton Sterling with the S exception, also sums to 67. His news story coming out on July 6th. 42 days after the bill, total span. And again, Freemasonry, 5867. The shooting where it happened on was Larpenteur Avenue at Fry Street. Larpenteur Avenue getting the majority of the focus. Look at what Larpenteur Avenue equals, 137. Go back to the Cleveland shooting of the homeless couple in their car. How many bullets fired? 137. This number gets coded all the time in these shootings. 137, the 33rd prime, we covered it. Again, race war 33, police 33. This time the spokesperson was Sergeant John Mangseth. Yeah, Mangseth 33, bizarre name. Larpenteur alone also has the gematria of 46, big number yesterday. Again, a number that shows up all the time in these police shootings. Just the word Larpenteur alone is 46. I show all the same things again and again in all these shootings. They're all the same. The location, the date, the names. It's always this way. It's the most redundant pattern. If you have a brain, it's impossible to deny. And again, Minnesota and Louisiana were these two shootings announced yesterday in the news. Both states with 38 gematria. Prince died there not long ago. Prince equals 38. Chanhassen. Prince died 67 days after Vanity. I predicted his death in February, Black History Month. February equals 42, like the most hateful word for black people. Ends on the 59th day, February 28th. 42 and 59, numbers stamped all over black people. Go back and see all of my work. For anyone who's watching here, a skeptic on the fence, just go back and see everything I predicted. The death of Prince, Muhammad Ali, and a million other things. All the sports championships correct before the seasons even begin. The world's scripted. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. It can end. It doesn't have to be this way either. All we have to do is, be like the characters in The Wizard of Oz. Remember what they needed? They needed a brain and some courage. And once they had that, they were able to confront the man running the screen, the scary noise machine. We need to do the same thing. March into these networks, take all these sellouts out, and take over the news ourselves and never give it back. These people aren't allowed back in the building. From now on, the news is about promoting truth, things that inspire, things that teach real skills. The news could be this. Instead of scare story, divide story. And we the people just play right into it like a bunch of sheep. Makes me sick. The victim, Philando Castile, a completely bogus name. PC initials, PC. P's the 16th letter, C's the 3rd. Kind of like 163, that's also the 38th prime number. Going with his Minnesota death. All scripted. His video was uploaded to Facebook, right? That's how the story got out. It was on Facebook Live. You notice they're using Facebook. Facebook with the 58 gematria started by this Zionist Jew, supposedly Mark Zuckerberg, who's really just a front for the CIA and who's really behind Facebook. The CIA themselves have said Facebook's made collecting data on people easier than we could have ever imagined. Just put it right all in front of your face. Mark Zuckerberg goes on with his hoodie with his Star of David on the inside of the sweatshirt that nobody can see. It's not hard to see what's going on here. The Cross Street Fry. Fry has gematria 49. This happened on a date with 49 numerology. 49, the number of revelation, the number of prophecy, which these madmen operate by. The name of the girlfriend who was next to the victim, last name was Reynolds, who recorded it supposedly. Somehow in handcuffs, she was filming. Reynolds in gematria, 49. Fry Street also has gematria of 25 and 34, like murder and massacre. This is a story of police murder. Her full name is Lavish Reynolds, which has gematria of 66, Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible, Revelation having gematria of 49. The prophecy code always comes in. If you read the chapter that I've linked in the description that I've written from my book, it shows how these killings are often according to the code of prophecy. The madmen work from the books of prophecy, the spiritual texts. Falcon Heights, Minnesota has gematria of 102. Just like Kia David. The Kia David is mentioned in the verse from Revelation about Philadelphia. This guy's name is kind of a play on Philadelphia, you know? Where's his name at? Look at it. Let's see. Philando. Philadelphia, Orlando. I'm telling you, this is how they make up all this stuff. It's all part of esoteric practices, occult practices, mixing and matching words, anagrams, numbers. Philando, Kia David. This is how they script it. Might sound crazy. It's because it is crazy. These people are insane who rule over us. They'll do anything to remain in power and control. Sadly, their madness works against us. The article also talks about Clarence Castile, Philando Castile's uncle. Interesting. Clarence Castile, 58, just like Freemasonry. Look at his initials. CC, the third letter, 33. Freemasons obsessed with 33. Falcon Heights also sums to 64, like Civil Rights Act in 64. Barack Hussein Obama equals 64. Trayvon Martin equals 64. That Triple S Food Mart covered this stuff yesterday. Name of the supposed store owner, Nervous Nelly on TV. Familiar numbers. As I talked about in the press conference, the victim was wearing red in Louisiana. His family, they have this guy back here with a red shirt with Trayvon Martin on it. There never was a Trayvon Martin. George Zimmerman is an actor agent. This is another story, a psychological operations ongoing by the numbers. In my race war chapter, I cover all of these stories you've ever heard of, showing how they're all hoaxes by the exact same numbers, tributes to the past. Trayvon Martin, a major tribute to Rodney King, buried the same day Rodney King was beat. All psyops. And of course it was LeBron James, the sports star, who was used in the Trayvon Martin psyop to popularize the hoodie movement. Notice when this kid bent down to hug the guy in the Trayvon Martin shirt, a Miami Heat shirt. That was showing in the background. This is also staged. What you're looking at are a bunch of people in costume. They're probably all black Freemasons. Sadly, all these black men in this nation who are Freemasons, who don't know what they're doing, supporting the Zionist Jews who've stolen their identity. The real black people of the world are the real Jewish people of the world. Africa equals the same thing as Jew. You read the Bible, it says the false Jews will rule in the end times. We call them the Zionist Jews. In the Bible, they're called the synagogue of Satan. And look at what they do. They use the real Jews who don't even know they're Jews. They use us all like pawns on a chessboard. It's just so sick. And all these black people, they don't even realize how bad they're selling themselves out working for this game. Getting a little bit of money. It's easy to take advantage of people, though, in this world we live in, this money system where you're born, pretty much as an indentured servant, a slave. Everybody's trying to break out of it. Everyone's trying to break their chains they're held down by. They end up selling themselves out most of the time to get out of their position. That's why they run this system the way they do. Again, Alton Sterling, supposedly really popular, but only has 10 Facebook friends. And somehow after he died, he uploaded Justice for Alton Sterling to himself. Always these fake Facebook profiles. Next thing you know, hours later in the day, you got a Facebook-sponsored shooting. Always the same. So I think we covered it all, Truth Seeker. with regards to the shooting happening on July 5th and the New World Order, show you this. Again, his last name Sterling. He was shot across from Big Ben in the UK. They have the pound sterling, which has the same gematria as New World Order. And these people who run the media by the numbers, they are the New World Order, the One World Order. This is how they operate. They riddle all their stories together. This story is about something ongoing, you know? We're living out the madman's prophecy. All right, so I know this video is long. We're going to close out by watching the video footage of the Minnesota shooting. We've already taken apart the Alton Sterling. I did 2 videos on that footage yesterday. We're going to go through this footage. We're going to talk about just how fake and ridiculous this is. You can see how it's a made-for-TV propaganda act if you just think and pay attention.
Stay with me. We got pulled over for a busted tail light in the back. And the
That reminds of Sandy Bland last year, pulled over for not signaling. Story by the same numbers.
He's covered. He killed my boyfriend. He's licensed. He's licensed to carry. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm. We're waiting for a back. I will, sir. No worries. I will. He just shot his arm off.
I mean, just already, if you have a brain, you can see how fake this is. You know, this woman, her body language is all off. You can just tell her emotional state is not where she should be if she's really concerned about her boyfriend. You know, she'd probably be over there trying to comfort him, block the bleeding, telling him she loves him. But what she got? She's got out her Facebook. She's got out her phone. She's doing some live streaming. And people are going to say, well, she's doing the right thing to get out the word. If this were real, do you think this officer over here with his gun pointing is going to allow this to be filmed? Do you know how police operate? There'd be a gang of them there already. Somebody would be telling her to get out of the car with a gun pointed at her. They would have her phone. They'd probably break it. But no. On the same day where they rush out the killing of Alton Sterling, they also got this by chance. You know, the powers that be treat us like we're retarded, and so many of us respond as if we are. Every day in this nation, atrocities committed by police that never sniff the light of the media or justice. Then just 2 in one day? How can anyone trust this media? You know, what kills me is so many people see certain lies. Like they see that 9/11 was a lie, but then they go back to trusting all the news stories as if they're real. I mean, who trusts a source that has ever lied to them? When somebody lies to me, you know, their credibility goes way down. They lie some more, down further. Eventually they get to a point where I say, okay, you have no credibility. And our mainstream media, it's so far beyond that. It's so far beyond that. You have to be truly fucking retarded in every sense of the word to trust anything that comes out of this media. To be fooled by this media is to admit that you are fucking retarded. Let's continue.
We got pulled over on Larpener.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
Keep your hands where they are, please.
Yeah.
I mean, does any of this seem real? Does any of this seem real? None of these stories ever do.
Will, sir, I'll keep my hands where they are. Please don't tell me this, Lord. Please, Jesus, don't tell me that he's gone. Please don't tell me that he's gone.
You can
Please,
see he's
officer,
breathing
don't
right
tell me
now.
that you just did this to him.
You can see her boyfriend is breathing right now. And she's going, oh God, please don't. She's reading a script. And this guy's not acting appropriately. It's just so bad. It's embarrassing.
You shot 4 bullets into him, sir. He was just getting his license and registration, sir.
Get the female passenger out. Get the car right now with your hands up.
So now that she's finished reading her script, introducing the viewer to what's going on, now the police start responding like, please, she needs to get out of the car. You know, this stuff would have happened so fast. She wouldn't have had time to give us the introduction This is just like an unbelievable Hollywood movie. Same people who script the movies, script the news. The Zionist Jews running the show.
See your hand. Exit now. Keep them up. Keep them up.
Where's my daughter? You got my daughter?
Face away from me and walk backwards. Towards me. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Get on your knees. Get on your knees.
And notice they're saying that one officer's Asian. We never saw what he looked like, but the first officer you see, he's white, of course.
Man, you're just being detained right now until we get this all sorted out, okay?
They threw my phone, Facebook. Please don't tell me, Lord Jesus, please don't tell me. Okay, please.
This is just like Sandy Bland now.
Please don't tell me he's gone. Please, Jesus, no! Please, no! Please, no! Don't let him be gone, Lord!
So just remember all these details, all these voices we hear in the background, this is all part of the scene. Pretty soon she's going to start praying. This is to impact people emotionally, you know. Think about how many Christian black people there are. They're going to hear this woman praying. They're going to relate. These stories are meant to provoke. They're meant to have parallels with those of us who live in this world, you know. And you see what else is in both of these stories. They're saying that both the men shot yesterday had guns on their body. This also feeds into the agenda of all the gun control items they're making. Should we even have guns? They'll start to say, well, imagine if neither of these guys had their guns, which they had legally, they probably wouldn't have been shot. It's just all part of a political narrative. There's so many things that they tie in.
Tell me my boyfriend's gone. He don't deserve this. Please. He's a good man. He works for St. Paul Public School. He doesn't have no...
He works for the public school where a lot of bad people live, or work, I should say. I used to be a school teacher. There are a lot of awful people in education. You hear how she's praying to Lord? The word Lord has gematria of 49. Just like the date, just like the number coded in the shooting. All part of the script. Just like when these basketball players, these athletes win their scripted championships and thank God, the man at the top, they're thanking their Mason rulers who are playing God over humanity.
Stand right here, sweetie. I'm just gonna look at the I'll take care of that, okay? Can you just stand right here for me?
Now a little kid comes in, a little girl, you know, more emotional story. Notice the acting's better when the camera's not on him. Sounds more believable.
that your phone?
We in the back seat of the police car.
So notice how the video lags there, the camera ended up back on the daughter. Now all of a sudden the woman who's in handcuffs in the back of the police car has gotten her phone back and is filming herself. This is impossible. If you think any of this is true, you have never been arrested before in your life. When you get arrested, the police are forceful with you, they search you, they take all of your items, you don't get anything back. They put it away. You know? You get it back when you get bailed out or get out of jail. They wouldn't give her back her cell phone. These stories are just meant to treat us like idiots. The powers that be love doing this to us, making their news stories completely unbelievable, but somehow the gullible masses go along with it.
Phil's sister called me. The police just shot my boyfriend for no apparent reason. My phone is about to die. They shot him. He shot him 3 times because we had a busted tail light. He asked him for license and registration. He told him, that man, that it was in his wallet, but he had a pistol on him because he's licensed to carry. And the officer told him, don't move. And as he was putting his hands back up, the officer shot him in his arm about 4 or 5 times. I'm on Larpener and Fry. Whoever can come to Larpen.
And how is she recording herself right now? If you've ever been arrested before, they handcuff you behind your back. And, you know, I'm only 5'10". The back of a police car is really small. When I get put in the back of a police car, I'm all crunched up. You know, I got my hands behind my back with metal digging into them. You know, it's a plastic seat. You're like jammed up against the driver's seat. There's no room. How would you possibly film yourself from the front?
And Fry, that's where I'm at. I'm going to need a ride home. We is on Larpenteur and Fry. Alizé, if you can come to Larpenteur and Fry, we right here in Roseville. They got the Roseville police. They got me handcuffed. My phone is about to die. I'm on Larpenteur and Fry. The Roseville Police Department just shot my boyfriend. They shot him 4 times. He's licensed to carry. We had a busted tail light. And we had some weed in the car. That's about it. It was a Chinese police officer that shot him. He's Chinese. He's about 5'5", 5'6" and a half. Heavy set guy. He asked him for his license and registration, which was in the back of his pocket, because he keeps his wallet in his pocket. And as he went to reach, he let the officer know before he was reaching that he had a firearm on him. And before he can let the officer know anything, the officer took off shots. About 4 or 5 rounds was shot. And my boyfriend, I don't know what condition he's in. I don't know if he's okay or if he's not okay. I'm in the back seat of the police car, handcuffed. I need a ride. I'm on Larpenteur and Fry. They got machine.
It's just such a joke. I mean, anyone who is duped by this news, they're just not thinking, and they're choosing not to see the truth of the reality. And there's a lot of people in this world who are just angry and need a reason to act out, and the powers that be know that. You know, it's just human behavior 101. Close this video out with a little lesson. This morning when I woke up, I got up at about 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. This video was at 2,992 views. And this video was at about 2,300 views. So what YouTube's done here is they froze this video. They're not allowing it to go up, but they're allowing this one to go up. And as you can see, this video had likes, not as many dislikes. I did a better job on this video. So it just goes to show the way that YouTube operates. They filter stats. Probably both of the stats are filtered on this video, but they're allowing this one to get more views. Probably because it's easier to paint me is a conspiracy theorist or a lunatic, you know? This one I explained myself better. YouTube squashing this video. The same people who control the media control YouTube. It's the same Masons, the same Zionist Jews. Just give you guys a little education lesson about the way views work on YouTube too. Unless you think in the time this video has gotten 0 views, this video has gotten about 4,000 views. I doubt it. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.